Hi everyone, good evening. How are we doing today? It's Shikemi here. How have you been? How was your weekend? How was your day? How was Monday? How was Tuesday? How have the classes been? I hope we're all learning. And definitely, if any of you have any questions, feel free to just send any of the facilitators a message on our LinkedIn or send us a mail. So I'm so happy to have everyone here, and I hope you're as excited as I am to have an awesome class today. Good evening, Florence. Great to know that you've been good. Hi, Opemi. Hi, Silva. Hi, Toby Loba. Hi, Fadipe. Hi, everyone. All right, so today we're going to be talking about introduction to Figma and collaborative design. Okay, excuse me. So up until this point, I know Esther and Falashade have done a great job guiding you on what UI UX is, and I hope none of us are lost at this point, because very soon we're going to be going deeper into what UI is, as well as how to use Figma, and then collaborating with other members of a typical team, more or less. So are we excited? Like, can we go on? Or maybe one or two of us just want to say what they've learned so far before we start. Let me just don't want to like wait for other people to join. So what have you Jeffrey? Okay, so what have we learned? Want to see my face, huh? What have we learned so far? Just one or two people. What have you learned in the past 2 weeks? It has been and then I'll go on. Or none of us have learned anything. Ah. All right. So we have a lot to cover. So I don't know if I'll be able to wait. Okay, they've been crazy. Yeah, so but it's all for the best. Okay, product design is user centric. Exactly. What's the point of design if the user can't use it? Or you're not solving the problem of the user. And yeah, design ethics and inclusive design. That's great, Victor. What did you learn about design ethics and inclusive design? Or what stood out to you? A good product designer must consider inclusivity and ethics. Exactly. Everyone should be able to use your app, at least a great number of your target audience and other people as well. Yes, as a designer, you're not the user, so you actually have to understand the user. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so let's just have a little reminder. I'm not going to recap everything, but just let's even remind us of what UI UX designer we've been talking about for the past 2 weeks. So UI UX design is about making digital products look good and easy to use. As we've overemphasized throughout the course of this, let's say training, your app should look good or your product should look good. And I think by now we all understand what a digital product is. This could be your website, your mobile application, your web application, your desktop application, your tablet application, the game on your tablet, your WhatsApp on your phone. So it should look good, interesting, inviting, but then also it should be easy to use. Because what's the point of it you looking good if I can't use it to get the job done or to achieve the goal of why I picked it up in the first place? So UI, as we all know, deals with the visual parts, which is what we actually interact with as users, which are the buttons, the colors, the layout, while the UX focuses on how the product works and how the users feel when using the product. So this is okay, I want to send a message on WhatsApp. I click on the message section. I look for the person I want to send a message to, click on the message section, type what I want to send, and click on send. That flow is the UX. And then together, we have applications and websites that are both attractive and user friendly. So, what's next? Drum roll. We're entering UI UX design tools. So yes, we know what UI UX is, but how do we even do this UI UX? So what do we use to bring to life all of these UI UX we have and know I want to do? So that's where these tools come in. So we have regular design tools, which basically is to bring designs to life. And then for specifically UI UX design, then we have the UI UX design tools. And there are a range of tools. It's not just Figma that exists. We have Adobe XD, we have Sketch, we have, would you believe people actually use Photoshop and Illustrator? I would never advise you to use it, but I found myself in cases where it was used. And before Figma actually became popular, it was actually very much used. And up to like, I think 2022. Yeah, 2022, maybe 2023. I was given a task where they were like, use Illustrator to do a landing page. And I'm like, what? So yes, people actually use Photoshop and Illustrator for UI UX design, or a bit more of UI design. And there are other platforms too, like Sketch, like InVision, and Miro and things like that, and then prototyping tools like Protopia and stuff like that. So these tools help designers create, test, and improve digital products efficiently. They support different stages of the design process, from brainstorming ideas to wireframing layout and designing interfaces and testing user interactions. This might sound like big English, but let me break it down. Sorry, I add something. So what we've been learning so far, I don't think we've had a dive into UI yet, which we would during, or we should during this week. So we'll talk more about design process, we'll talk more about wireframing, as well as what interfaces are. But let me just put this in simpler terms. So different stages of the design, where brainstorming, we're empathizing, we're understanding, okay, what is the problem? What problem are we solving? Who are our users? And then we move on to wireframing. This is where like we try to flesh out, okay, can this flow work? Can this flow not work? And then when we know the flow that works, and then probably a design or a layout to match the solution, then we can now move on to, okay, this is how it would look like. Add colors, add text, add images, and then we now test it. Okay, does it get the job done? Do people find it easy to use? Is there something we should add or remove? So I think that's the best way to explain all this grammar that we see right here, and basically what UI UX design tools are for. Okay, so another important thing to note is UI tools are vector based. So you might ask, what is vector or what is pixel? So something being pixelated or vectorized is where when you scale the image, how does it look? So for a pixel image, when you scale it, it looks like the image on the left. It has like little squares of color that makes up the entire image. So we kind of see this on TVs, we see this on our laptops. If you're editing an image on Photoshop, it's bad. Like that's what we work with mostly. We work with pixelated images on Photoshop, or when you want to do like manipulations, like maybe change the color of someone's shirt, or I really don't know, or paint something, you work with pixels on Photoshop or on mostly design softwares. But we also have the vector base, which is mostly like something like Illustrator. So I'm using design terms. I really hope we're not confused. And this is where when you scale, the quality is not lost. Like no matter how you zoom in, that line is a smooth line. And it's very important we have this when we're doing UI, because we're going to be working with different screen sizes, where these images will have to like enlarge, or where this your text or your button will have to either shrink or enlarge, and you want the quality to remain the same. So, and then this is important for clarity, for crispness, whether it's in a large or small resolution. By large or small resolution, I mean a large or small screen. So to put this in simpler terms, why are the tools we use to do UI design vector based? By vector based, I mean no matter how you zoom, it's smooth because quality is important. Imagine if you're on WhatsApp and it's blurry, or maybe you can't see tiny things, so you set your phone to like zoom in on everything. Maybe on your phone all the text is big because maybe you are short-sighted or whatever, and then you come to WhatsApp and then WhatsApp is blurry. You're like, why? And then you have to zoom out before it's clear. That would be very bad. So that's why it's important that it's vector based, or a vector software was used to design it. Are we all together, or are we confused at this point? Just give me a thumbs up if we're together, and then I'll continue. I don't need like two people. Okay, we're together. Thank you, Bethel. You're confused. Okay. So, can we see the two images? Yeah. On the left is a pixel image, and on the right is a vector image. Another word for pixel is like rasterized image, right? So pixel image or pixelated images can actually be clear when you zoom out. Like the more you zoom out, it will look like the vector, but when you zoom in, it will look like the pixelated image. So what makes up a pixelated image? Little squares of color. What makes up a vector image? Lines, just lines. It's not like it's the line. There's no breakdown. That's how it is, no matter how you zoom. When you zoom to the zoomers, like you see the line in that shape. Okay. So, okay, you can hear me. All right. So, when it now comes to UI, it's best to use a software that is vector based. So this is why sometimes people use Illustrator to design landing screens. I do not advise it, but it is done because Illustrator is a vector based software, and Figma too is a vector based software. That is why when you draw a square on Figma, you can zoom and then the quality is still the same unless it's an image, and then naturally images are pixelated. But then using Figma and everything, to a great extent, the quality is retained. And yeah, so I hope we're not confused anymore. All right, so let's continue. So let's be introduced to Figma. So for this training, we're going to actually be using Figma as our software. Why Figma? Because it is free. There's the paid version, but you get most of it. Like for the basic level, you have, unless you're doing really advanced design work with like a large team, is only when you need a paid version, to be honest. You can get like everything you need done on the free version, flat, free, like beautifully done. And then you can even still very much easily collaborate on the free version. And then you don't necessarily even need to download Figma to use it. So that is why we're using it for this class. Other softwares work, but I think weighing the pros and the cons, is best we actually start with Figma. Plus, it's kind of industry standard to a good extent. All right. So before we dive into Figma, which this is also part of Figma, let's look at FigJam. So when it comes to Figma, there are three parts. Was two, but now three. So there's the FigJam, the Figma design, and Figma slides. Figma slides was a new feature maybe added last year or last 2 years. But FigJam was kind of there for a longer time, and then we have Figma design. So what is FigJam? FigJam is a collaborative whiteboard tool designed for brainstorming, planning, and ideation. You know, UX, when we're in the UX phase, there's a whole lot of figuring out what the problem is, right? And this is where we talk to different members of the team, stakeholders, the users, and we're like, what is happening? Who are you? What do you need? What do you want? Yes, no, yes, no. This can be done physically, awesome. But to an extent, it's more organized virtually, and for teams that are like cross-functional all over the world, not in the same place at the same time, it's kind of nice to have a tool to use, right? So that's where FigJam comes in. You can have sticky notes like the picture used. Someone can put an emoji that, yes, this design works. No, this design does not work. They can put a comment that, oh, yes, my own user, or maybe merging. I don't know if we've treated user personas, but we'll say, okay, so looking at this user, this is my type of user, or these are the types of users we're looking at. A female, or we're looking at females between the ages 1 to 50 that are in Nigeria or Africa, whatever. So would kind of put our personas and everybody say yes, no, add male should be included, whatever. So this is where all the discussions happen. And then you can even have flow charts to describe your solution that, oh, okay, let the first step be maybe open the app, the next step is select it from the menu, the next step is choose what you want to buy, and things like that. So that's what it is. It's basically for brainstorming, for planning, for fleshing out ideas. And it's for teams. Teams can sketch ideas, can create flow charts, can collaborate in real time. Everybody can just come and on the call, just start talking, discussing, and just knowing what to do. So it's majorly for the early stage of the design process, and it helps teams to think through concepts visually before moving into the detailed design in Figma, which we'll be going into next. All right. So now, what is Figma? All right. So I'm seeing a bit of questions. Please, all your questions, just just put it together. I know we might be a bit confused now, but as we go on, it's gonna get easier. I assure you, to a great to a great extent. It might look so complex now, but the thing is, it's very important to understand what happens behind the scenes. Product design is not just design. It's a design that has a lot of thinking that goes into it, and a lot of understanding that goes onto it. When you're doing it, it just comes subconsciously and you're just doing it. But it's something that you've trained yourself to think about these things, or research on these things, or ask the right questions, so that your product is not just out there, it's something that is used and wants to be used, basically. So it's easy, trust me, it is easy. I'm just trying to explain what happens behind the scenes. And I mean, as we more of us will be more excited when we get to the practical part. So let's keep going. Put them to the end of this class, or just send us a mail, and then we're very much happy to maybe book a session to explain to you and things like that. So coming back to class, what is Figma? So Figma is a cloud-based design tool. So what I mean by cloud-based design tool is basically it's online. So it's something that you can just go to figma.com and you can start using it. Literally, I don't know if any of us know Canva. Figma is like the Canva of UI UX design, basically. And then it's popular for its collaborative features, like everybody can use it at the same time. And it's great for creating and sharing components, working with design systems. These are just big grammar for saying it's very easy to get the job done when it comes to UI UX. So Figma account, go to figma.com, get started for free, and follow the steps. If you like, you can log in with you continue with your Gmail, or you can put your email and then a password you want to use, and then there's the whole verification, and you're good to go. In less than 10-15 minutes, you have your account. You're very much good to go. So what are the actions on the Figma dashboard? So now when you have Figma, this kind of the view on the right. This is like the basic view in dark mode. My laptop is in dark mode, but I don't know, but I have a feeling there should be a light mode. But this is how it has been for me for a long time. So this is it on the right. So you get to see, okay, do you want to create a project? Do you want to, like, you get to your actions, your account settings, files you've worked on. If you have not worked on any files, to be blank. You can organize your files. You can get a template. So you don't even need to design from scratch. You can literally go to your Figma community and just look for a template that, okay, I want to create a food ordering app. I don't know how to do this, but has someone done it before? And then you go, you look at it, and you're like, oh, okay, this is what I can do, and these are the steps I can take, and it gives you like a foundation. And then also this is also where you create a new file and need to choose, okay, do you want a FigJam, do you want a Figma design, or do you want like slides, like literal presentation slides, which is a different part we won't be treating in, but It's just another feature on Figma. So yes, okay, yeah, there's a light mode in Figma. So if your laptop is in light mode, you have the light mode in Figma. All right. So let's move on. So now you've clicked on, so from here, this is the basic, this is the, on the right, let me put on the right, is like the landing page. If it's light mode, it's with brighter, white, everything. On the left, when you click on create new, you can see, do you want to create a design file? Do you want to create a FigJam board? Or do you want to create a slide deck? We've talked about FigJam board. So that's where on this page, you get to see, you won't see this to be blank, but then when you start adding and your team start adding, it to look something like this, or a flow chart or whatever. And then if you click on design file, which is what we're going to be dealing with for the rest of this course, of in the next couple of slides I'll be showing you, is us if we click the design file. And slide deck is another, I think it has left the beta mode by now, but yeah, slide deck is the what I was talking about. That is the presentation side. It's like a PowerPoint version of Figma. And then you can lastly import. If you have a Figma file, maybe someone sent you a Figma file, you can import it. Or maybe you downloaded a template online, you can import it, open it, and use it to do whatever you want to do, correct a design or whatever. But Figma, you can easily share it and work. Once they add you to the file, you can continue working. So importing are just those rare cases and that type of inclusion. Okay, what are the people that it wasn't shared, it was actually given. So things like that. Okay. So what are the parts of the Figma design file? So this is us clicking design file. Okay. So what are the parts of the Figma design file? We have the canvas. So when you open Figma, the new Figma, because there are two versions, but every person that joins now is automatically on the new version anyway. But you can always swap. But yeah, this is the new version. You have on your left-hand side, like your pages, your name of your file, settings and stuff. That's on the left. And on your right, you have your properties. So that's your design option. Do you want to change color, art style, whatever? Or do you want to prototype or present or share? So the right are usually settings for the design itself. And the left is more for like organization and file management. Okay. You understand as we go on. These are just big words for really, really simple things. And then the white space in between is where we'll be doing our work, okay? No, I don't think Figma synchronizes with PowerPoint, but Figma can create slides for presentations. Like if I used Figma to create the slides we're looking at now, that's how it is. Okay, so just like Canva can create slides, Google Slides can create slides, PowerPoint can create slides, Figma can create slides. Okay, so and it's awesome because you can now use plugins and assets and stuff like that. So part of design file, back to what we're doing. So we have canvas, right? So that's the white space where everything we do shows, like whatever you're designing is on the canvas. It's the blank space where you design or arrange your elements. It's an empty area and then you add frames, shapes, text, whatever. So that's the canvas. This very big white space in the middle is the canvas. Okay, and you can change the color or whatever. Then we have the layers panel. So you can see left and right. So now I'm zooming into the left. Okay, I'm zooming into the left. So now the layers panel, which is just under pages, you have a list of all your layers you have used. So by all layers are like whatever you add, whatever frame. I'll still explain frames in this class. Remember all your questions, please keep them together or note them for the end of class so that I won't forget and I won't have to be interrupting the lessons. Okay, so you have your layers. So everything you use, you can see pop up what we do, media. These are frames. So contact us frame, donation frame. These are frames, and by frames, these are like pages, right? We have the contact us page, donation page, home page. These are my layers. And then in the home page, we now have the button I used, the text I used, everything is in the layers panel. So when you start a new design, you start with a single layer of frame and then you add more elements. And the more elements you add, by elements, we're talking about text, shape, color, whatever. It appears, okay, color doesn't appear, but text, shape, things are physical, it appears in the panel and it's in the hierarchical structure of your design. So like what comes first, what comes second, it follows those rules. Okay, so now we now have the frame. So I don't know if we can see this a bit. So this is like a section called give. And then we have stage 5, stage 6, stage 7. So stage 5 has maybe fill a form to do whatsoever. Normally you should actually name your frames well so people know what it is. So it could be okay, volunteer form. The next one is successfully volunteered form or volunteer successful or whatever, and then things like that. So this is just how a frame looks like basically. And in a frame is now a literal page. So is it a mobile page, a desktop page? That's what a frame is. It's like the size of your design, or maybe. So now a frame could be used for screens, it could be used for animation. We'll still get to all these complex things I'm saying. It can be used for organization, can be used for prototyping, things can be used for creating components. We'll get to all of this stuff. But frames just really help with organization and it's like a starting point too. So for now, let's just note a frame as okay, it's used for it's used as a starting point and it's used to organize your design basically. And you can add as many frames as needed as you progress. Then we now have our pages, which is on top of layers. So for pages, these are like different canvases. So a canvas, how will I look at it as a book, literally. So in a book, in page 1, which is the default, you have, okay, so in the free version, you can create 3 pages. But when you open it, default, you only have 1 page. So I created page 1 and there's repository. That's just a page I renamed to repository. There usually can be anything and then you can add as many. On the paid version, you can add as many pages. But on the free version, you can only have 3 pages, which is actually more than enough. So you can have your mobile page, your web page, and maybe a repository or admin page or archive page, depending on what you want to use it for. So page 1 can, or let's say this is the mobile view, it can have all the mobile designs there. Page 2 can be the web view, can have all the web designs there. And then page 3 can maybe be the admin view, and then admin web, all the admin web, admin mobile, all the admin mobile, so things like that. So pages are like, if we see it as a book, the canvas is a page on the book, in the book. And then when you flip the book, you go to page 2, you see another canvas with completely different details, completely different, I won't say completely different settings, but then you can have its own unique setting there, like its own prototype for presentation and things like that. But it's all within the same file. So that's how pages work basically. And then we now have components. So components are parts that are reusable. So like buttons, we'll still get to this when we treat design system, but their components are created and they are reusable design elements. This so much so that instead of designing the menu bar over and over and over and over again for each frame, why don't I just insert it? Why don't I just make it a component and then anytime I need a menu bar, I can just take it and bring it out. The same way I could duplicate, but then maybe there's a new file, maybe I'm moving on to maybe 2.0 version and I still need the same navigation bar. I could always just pick out the components, edit what I need or input it into where I need it and stuff. So it's just a compilation of reusable elements. And again, what I mean by elements could be text, could be buttons, could be icons, could be anything that you will most likely use again. Then we move on to assets. So assets is similar to components. So components are more in, what's the word now? In canvas or in-app, in what you're doing, while assets could be a completely different Figma file, but I am using elements for that from that Figma file. And what makes it so interesting is you can use this for your design system, which is your colors, your text, your button style. You can use this for icons. So instead of you always downloading the icon, you can just download a icon folder and be removing, okay, now I want house, I want dog, I want phone. So instead of going online, icon of a phone, I can just go to my assets that have different icons and then I choose the style I want and then I can be importing it. I know this might sound confusing, but this is this is a more complicated way of saying there is a panel in Figma that makes design so much easier. I'll end it there. And it's called assets, where I can bring in libraries, and libraries are so let's look at this as a book. Maybe this is the best analogy. Let's look at it as a book, okay? Figma is a book. We have, when you open a Figma file, you literally have a book. In every book, there are pages, and you literally have pages in Figma. So for every page could represent whatever section of your design, okay? And then you now have different books you have created for maybe different companies or whatever. Or you just said, okay, I want to even create one book that will house all the things I'll possibly need in other books, okay? And it's now in every book you have, there will be quiz. In every book you have, you can link it to a book that has all the design you need in other books. So I think that's the best way to explain it. I really hope you're not confused at this point, because it's getting interesting, okay? So now we have the properties panel, which is similar. So properties panel, it looks complicated. It's simpler than it looks, I assure you. It is so simple. This one line I broke into three. See how it looks here. On the right is what's on the right here that is I broke into three, so it doesn't look like this. If you have a background in design, this won't look so confusing, because we literally have a properties panel in design. Like if you know how to use Photoshop, or you know how to use Illustrator, we have something like this. So it's easy to just integrate and say, oh, alignment, oh, layout, oh, color, layout grade, and all those stuff, and exports. Literally, like, I think one thing about this field is we use complex designs for the most simple things. Trust me. So properties panel is literally where you just have your design options, okay? What font will I use? Like, what font pop in? Like, what font will I use? What color do I want to use? Red, blue, yellow? Do I want it to be up, down, left, right? All those things are what's controlled on the right. And I assure you, it's simpler than it looks. Then we now have the Figma tools, which appears at the bottom. You can rearrange it however, but it appears. So on the extreme left, you have your mouse, which you can use. Yeah, your frame, mostly frame. And then next is your shapes. You can import shapes or image. And next is your pen tool. So if you want to manually draw, bring in your inner Picasso, you can do that. Next is text. You want to import a text. Next is your comment. You want to comment, which we'll talk about in collaboration. And then we now have your plugins, which is for, okay, instead of downloading, can I just get something that will do it faster for me? And then next is handing over to developers to design, okay, or the dev mode, basically. So plugins, I really wish we dived into UI before coming this. Maybe this would have helped with understanding some of these things here. So plugins are just like, now let's look at Iconify, or let's look at Unsplash. Iconify is just, instead of downloading icons, I can open a application on Figma that will give me all the icons I need. Unsplash, instead of looking for pictures all over the internet, I could literally just click on Unsplash, or search and click on Unsplash, and then I have images. So I don't have to start looking for images. I just click on the image I want and use. And on the extreme left is how you do it. Just right click, click on plugins, click on the plugin you want, and then you get what's on the extreme right. Or you can go to the bottom, this one that has like shapes and a plus, and then you have the middle option, and then when you click on whatever you want, you have the option on the right. Okay. All right. So now I think we're done with the most complicated parts. So things to note, okay. Frames and layouts. So in Figma, when it comes to frames and layout, this is where you define the size and structure of your design. This is where you say, I want to build a mobile app, or I want to design a desktop screen. okay, and you use a frame for that. Like frames literally have different screen sizes showing you that, okay, is it phone you want, iPhone, which phone save, is it iPhone or Android, all those stuff. Laptop, is it desktop laptop or small laptop or big laptop. You literally have those options when you click on frame. And then you now have a layout to just kind of have an idea of what you want to create, which guides you to choose the right options. Okay, then we now have shapes, text, and components. Big grammar again. This is literally the color and text you want to use. The name of your, now you're doing a form now. What's your name? The name saying what's your name, or the text saying what's your name, and the space where you write your name. That's what we talk about when we say shapes and text. Where you write your name is rectangle. What's your name is in text, big or small, maybe bold or not bold. Like, it's that simple. And then component is if you want to keep reusing it, which we'll still see later on. Grids and alignment, another big grammar to just say arrange your work well. So do you want everything to be aligned in the middle, aligned on the left, aligned on the right, in the center? Just make your work look really well. Prototyping and interaction, another big grammar to say, let us see how it will look like before we build it. So just like an architect, there is the prototype, literally. So where you build, I don't know if we've seen all these small houses. I know if you ever had a friend in architecture department, you see them carrying all these their small models of houses that will have tree, have a window, have everything, and it's like, this is the real house. As far as they even use material similar to how it will look in real life, the same thing in prototype. Just show me, okay, this WhatsApp you have created, how does someone click through? Before we start disturbing all the developers to bring it to life or to put it online, let me know how you actually want to send a message, and then I'll show you that, okay, you click here, you click here, you click here. It doesn't have a server or anything. It's just presenting whatever you designed. So that's how prototyping and interactions work. Linking all your designs and showing how it works and how it loads and things like that. Okay, so done with the grammar. I think we should go on a break to process everything, but are we lost? Are we together? Collaboration is a whole different conversation. So I just want to know if we're together. Let me treat one or two questions before I go on, because this is a completely different phase. So all the questions you had, please help me bring them back. I know I've missed quite a number, and then we'll continue from there. You're lost, but okay, which parts don't you understand? Okay. All right, so just to recap, everything I've talked about here is about what can we use to do this UI UX design we've been talking about. Yes, there are supporting platforms, but what platform will we be using majorly? And we talked about Figma, right? Why Figma is great for collaboration, working together with people. It's free, it's online, it gets the job done to a really, really good extent. Okay. And the best part is parts where it's lacking in, you can call on other applications right there in Figma, and it will help you get the job done. So in Figma, it's just me taking you around that, okay, I can add color, I can add text, I can bring in designs, I can speed up my design process, I can know the screen I'm designing for, I can collaborate with my friends, my colleagues, and get feedback, I can share my designs, I can do so many things on Figma to have the screens for my UI UX designs. Okay, so that's kind of what we've looked at so far. Yes, Jewa, you can do a prototype on Figma. There's literally, okay, so let me show you this. So can you see this on your right, on the extreme image on your left? That's where you click on prototype. So on your right, so when you open Figma, you have the canvas, you have the left panel, and you have the right panel. on the right panel, you can create a prototype. Maybe I should even do a practical to help you guys. But you can create a prototype, and then when you click on prototype, is now where you can do interaction. Just like link all your screens and say, okay, this is how this application works. This is the flow. You can actually click the button and to click. That's what prototype does. As we go forward, we'll learn how to do all these things. So this is just me running through the application and how to use it. Yes, share. Thank you. Okay. All right. So, do we have any other questions? Let me just answer all questions before we move on. Can collaborators have a meeting on FigJam? Yes, you can. There's also collaboration on FigJam as well. You have the spotlight. We'll talk about all of that in the next phase, how you can collaborate on Figma. So it's I think it's the same with FigJam. You have you can have a call, you can leave a comment, you can type and see what someone else is saying live and direct. And then maybe we can have a practical tool of how prototype of how collaboration works on Figma. Okay. Let me just look for other questions. So Figma, the mobile version for Figma is for prototypes and presentations. You can't design on the mobile view. It's be very small. If you maybe open the desktop view on your phone, it will be too small and it's easy for you to mix up a lot of things. So it's either you use a tablet or a laptop or a desktop, or a phone won't be enough. And a tablet can work for touchscreen, but then it's easier if you have maybe a keyboard and a mouse. But you can, if you have like a pen, or you can even use your hand, just that to be a bit slower than just using a mouse and a keyboard. Yeah, Figma is online. So even if you have the application, the web app, sorry, even if you download it, it still needs internet. So you can work on it offline, but it's not updated until internet comes in. And the thing about working on it offline is if it doesn't save, it could be a problem. So it's best to just leave your laptop until like internet connects so that you don't lose all the designs you've done. And it kind of merges immediately it connects, so everybody is updated at the same time. Okay, so do we have any other questions? Hi, Mrs. Kemi Silva. Is Miss Kemi or for now? Miss Kemi, by the way. Is prototyping like editing or modifying a default design or template? No, prototyping is showing how it would work when it's in use. So you can even use it for usability testing. You can use it to present to your stakeholders. It's like showing how it will work before it's actually developed or before someone starts adding code to it or whatever. It's just bringing, like, now you know when you design on Figma. Let me show you something. When people design on Figma, it looks something like this, right? But these are just screens. These are mobile screens. How does it work? How does the first page link to the second page? It's probably when I click on save that the next page appears. So prototyping is linking these two pages such that when they click on save, this is the next page that shows. So that's what prototyping does. Exactly, Kenny. Prototyping is giving your client a feel of how the actual application would work. Perfect. By add-ons, I mean plugins, and plugins are like how do I do this? YouTube. YouTube has YouTube Music. Okay, maybe that's a bad example. But there are different applications that do different things, yeah. And that is not Figma. So we have things like FreePic, we have things like Unsplash, we have things like Peggle. These are different applications that either shows pictures, icons. They have their own function entirely. They are not Figma at all. So now, instead of that, okay, I need a picture. I now have to go to Google to start saying, okay, give me a picture of a man, give me a picture of a woman. I can just go to plugins or add-ons and just say, oh, give me an application that, or give me something that gives pictures, give me something that gives icons, give me something that, instead of me looking for text to write, it will form text and just give me and I'll paste it. Yeah. So that's what plugins do. They aid the design process to speed up your design flow. So you don't have to start going to Google, give me composition to fill up this gap. You don't need to do that. Just go to Lurap Ipsum, click on it, generate 5 lines of text, or just generate text enough to fill this gap, and it will do that. Or give me pictures of a man, it's to give like 10 pictures of a man. You cannot choose the picture of a man you want. So that's how plugins work. And I think there's a slide on that here. So if you look at this now, on the extreme left is where you're clicking on plugin, and then you get to see different options, or maybe you can click on the plugin icon and then you get to see different options. So these are different companies entirely that is not Figma. But when each of them have their function, and you can just call the function of that plugin for whatever you want to do at that point in time. So Iconify now is known for icons. Unsplash now is known for pictures. So now, for this, I clicked on Unsplash, and Unsplash is what's on the extreme right. I can see different pictures, and then to put it wherever I want, I just click on the picture I want and it downloads beautifully. I don't have to start going online or stressing about it. Once I have internet, I have what I need basically, and it just speeds up the whole design flow. Okay. For the prototype, will it be separate? Will it be created separately apart from it? No, it's on the same design. So that's another beautiful thing about Figma. You don't have to go anywhere. It gets the job done the same place. If you want to do prototype, just flip to the prototype tab and then start linking away. No stress. We'll still dive in. We'll have a beautiful practical on Figma when we're treating UI designs, and you see how everything works. So it's not, you don't have to create a different page for prototyping, just link it and continue from where you stopped. Yes, praise, it's like a blueprint. Yeah, it's not like a blueprint. That's more or less like wireframes, but it's just like to show this is what we have, and this is like a 3D display of a house. So someone can actually walk through the house that has not been built yet and say, oh, this is where the room will be, oh, this is where the toilet will be, this is where the kitchen will be. That's literally what prototypes do. Yeah, you can use other means like Google Meets, which works fine for presentations, like to show what you've done or to have conversations, but then you can literally just place a call on Figma and save you that time too. So you can place a call and spotlight yourself. So there's no video feature, so probably that's where Google Meet comes in. So there's that too. Can you download Figma on a laptop? Yes, you can. And then you can also use the web version where you don't need to download. Just go to figma.com and start designing. Just have good internet and you're good to go. Okay, so I'm just running this till like 8 o'clock, and then we'll have a break, and then I'll continue with collaboration, and then we'll have a quiz and we'll call it a day. So standard frame size for mobile app, and that's our website. To be honest, okay, mobile, I think it's like 480 pixels, but they have literally mobile screen sizes in Figma. So just choose the one you want and continue. Same for websites, like they're literal. So now standard frame depends on what you want. I think it's just best to use like the normal 15-inch laptop, because most people have that type of laptop. So you can maybe use MacBook 14 or just maybe normal desktop size. or 1440 width, and then height is as long as you need. Yeah. Does Figma have a PC version? Yes. Plugin things make things easier to do. Perfect. Yes. Plugin is a software that solves a problem. Yes. It's a software that is in-app, so you call on it and it comes out and gives you what you want. Yes. But it's not Figma. It's like partnership with Figma. Yeah. Plugins is like a market where you get stuff to create a design. Perfect. Thank you, Ibrahim. FreePic, there's a plugin for FreePic literally. So FreePic exists. It gives assets like illustrations, templates, pictures, icons. But I think the plugin is just for pictures and icons, or pictures, then you have flat icons for icons. Okay. There is a Figma software and there's a Figma web version. Icon 8. Yes, Sakai, like you know more. Those are literal plugins. Thank you. Add-ons, if it has AI integrated, would work like AI. If it doesn't, it's just line of code that is being implemented. Okay. Plugins are not AI assistant. They're just a marketplace where you get what you need to get things done while you're designing. It speeds up the process really. Don't worry, the quizzes are easier than you think, trust me. Okay, in Figma is when you're done with the designs that you create a prototype. You can have different stages of prototype to present different flows. So it might not be the entire app. It could be, okay, let's work on this flow, and then you just present that flow, link it, present it, and you make whatever corrections are needed. Okay. Elizabeth, if I missed your question, can you please retype it? So, Victor, Figma is like a book, and for each canvas is like a page. And on each page, like literally, look, imagine a book in your hand, okay? And it's a Figma file you've created. On the front, maybe menu or food app or food ordering app. That's the name of your book. Okay, and one page can now be dedicated to the mobile screens. The second page can be dedicated to the web screens. The third page can be dedicated to admin screens, or maybe you just need the mobile user and the web user, and the third screen can be archived. So maybe any design you think you might need but don't actually need, just put it there. Or maybe you want to quickly try a sketch design, not interfering with the actual main design. You can just use your repository or archive to do that. So that's how it's just a book. It's literally just a book. Okay. And yeah, Figma, the free version gives you 3. To be honest, 3 is more than enough because the canvas is like super big and you can have so many sections. Like, you can create sections on the Figma canvas. So you can even have, okay, this section is for web, this section is for mobile on the same page. So you might not need to even use the entire 3 pages unless you're working on really large designs, which is now, okay, I'm probably doing work that I am getting paid enough to afford the paid version, that type of thing. So, or the company just gives you the paid version. FigJam and Figma. Is this Figma owns FigJam and Figma Design. So now let me go back to this page. In Figma, you can do 3 things majorly, okay? You can see the picture on the left. You can create a design file, which is the popular Figma we know. It's a design file, literally. And in that design file is where you can design, create prototype, blah, blah, blah. Then we have the FigJam board, which is great for prototypes and collaboration. On the right, I don't know if you can see all these purple, pink, green. Those are templates for the FigJam. So if it's collaboration, or maybe sticky notes you want to use, there's templates. If it's flowchart, there's templates. And if you want to do it from scratch, beautiful. And then we now have the slide deck for presentation. So those are like three major things you can use Figma for. Okay. So the difference is just FigJam is mostly used for collaboration and brainstorming, while Figma is used, or design, Figma design file, or just design file, is used for implementation. So this is where you do your wireframing, you do your designs, you prototype and stuff like that. Yeah. There are paid plugins as well, but there are also free ones. And to be honest, there are more free ones that you might not even need the paid one unless you are doing really complicated designs. Yes, there will be practical. That is not today. Thank you. Yeah, I think I've answered the difference in FigJam and Figma. Okay. Okay, so let's continue. Elizabeth, okay, so let's just say the standard for web is like 1920 by 1080 pixels, and for mobile is like maybe between 375 or 360 by 812 height or more if it's a scrollable application. So yeah, that's like the default. But like I said, frames have the literal sizes there. So you just pick, are you designing for Android? I design it for Apple. Usually people design for Apple because it can be scalable to Android. So yeah. Yes, more than one user can work on Figma. We have 3 more minutes. So if you have any question, this is the best time to put it. Yeah, more than one user can work together on Figma. We'll talk more on that in collaborations, and at the same time, simultaneously, like you're seeing your friend arranging something, you're arranging something, you can literally do that on Figma, free safe. Okay, I've answered the question difference between FigJam and Figma. It will be difficult to work on your phone, very difficult. It's not impossible, but it will be difficult. And if you want to use the app for phone, it's not for designing, it's just for presentation, or it's just for presentation, it's not for designing. But you can manipulate using the web desktop viewing, maybe Google Chrome, but it's very difficult to, maybe it's just like a tiny change you just wanted to do and you had to use your phone. It's not ideal for designing. If you can get a tablet, that can work, or a laptop, or maybe if you have someone's laptop you can use. Okay. For research, depends on the type of research. If it's observations, you could note them and discuss them in FigJam, or you could use survey tools like Typeform, Google Form, and then based on responses, compile them. You could use Heatmap. There are other softwares for that, and then compile them and discuss your findings and stuff like that. Yes, there's collaboration like Google Doc. I have explained Figma and FigJam. Exactly. So paid is just like I said, unless you're working on a super large application where you need more pages, it's easier to have teams. So maybe you have, like, you work with a company now and you have different projects you're working on in the company. Definitely your folder needs more than 3 Figma files and also needs more than 3 Figma pages in each file. So There's that, and then you could have like a large design system that controls the remaining pages which you want to be able to link to. You don't want to always have to be sharing your files. Everybody is on the same team, seeing what's happening at the same time. So things like that, basically. Yes, you can collaborate with us. That's why I said Figma is the best, because it gives so much free, and the paid one is, you actually need the paid one. Like, you can successfully run a business or a freelance whatever using the free version. You can do so much with the free version. You might not even need the paid at all for a very long time. You cannot collaborate with draft files. I don't even know if you can collaborate. Okay, you can collaborate with draft files on the free version. You have to save it into a team. That's for the free version, sure. I think it's better to use the website. Personally, I really enjoy using the website to do downloaded one. But both work. But I find it easy because I'm just like, I just come online, get what I want to get done, and go. I can open multiple tabs, do so many things. But the app works too, and it's great for organizing. But I do personally enjoy using the web. And maybe because when I started on a system that wasn't, I think it was like 4 gig RAM. So having the web was like using so much, sorry, having the application was using so much power. So it was easier for me to just use the web and get things done. So it's, I'm just stuck on it. But I have friends and people that literally use the app and they enjoy it as well. So whatever works for you, really. Okay, we're at 8 o'clock, so I'm going to stop answering questions. Let me just run through if there are any other questions that I've asked. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Olatunde. The interfaces, I think they're the same. I don't think they're different. You can change your interface, but it's the same by default. If you now say, oh, I want my own bigger, I want my own left, that's up to you. But it's the same by default. Okay, can the class move to? All right, so well, the bare minimum is 4 gig, but at least you can have 8 gig RAM. But 4 gig works well. Just it might be slow. I don't know if they've improved. I've not used the app in a very long time, so 4 gig RAM should work. All right, so thank you all so much. So we're going to go on a 5 minute break for your attendance, and then by like 8:08, we'll come back and then we'll go into collaboration on Figma. Thank you. Okay, how are we, everyone? Okay, so before I go on, I think I saw a question. Can you recommend a site we can get Figma template or download and import to Figma? Honestly, okay. There's Envanto, but Envanto is paid. But there's Figma community, which is free. A good number of the templates there are free, so um you can always go to Figma community for that. All right, so let's go to the next. So now, I don't think anyone can look me with their face and tell me they're lost because. All right, so let's go into collaboration. Okay. So what is collaboration? I'll try to explain as much as I can. So literally the word collaboration is the act of working together with others. You collaborate, you work with them to achieve a common goal. It involves sharing ideas, communicating clearly, and supporting one another to complete a task or solve a problem. So, why do I collaborate? Because of a goal. We all have a share to achieve a task or solve a problem. So, what is now collaborative design? We have collaboration and we now have collaborative design. We have collaboration in design, but now I'm bringing grammar again, so I'll just talk about collaborative design. So, this is when a group of people, like designers, developers, stakeholders, all work together to create a product. The design or this collaboration in the process of design, okay? And then this is also where everyone shares their ideas, gives feedback, and helps make decisions to build something better and more user friendly. So you might ask, who is a stakeholder? Stakeholders are users, product managers, business owners, developers, marketing teams, research, everything, legal, and so on. So basically, while I'm designing or before I start designing, all of us are talking, and even while I'm designing, they'll say, no, this color can work, this color cannot work, this can do, this cannot. Everybody is looking at it, and at the same time too, how am I handling it over? Oh yeah, this developer, I've designed this screen, or pick it up, those type of things. So that's what makes up collaborative design. So how does Figma support it? Like, what is in Figma that actually says, okay, let's support collaboration? Yeah. So we have real-time collaboration. So I'll go through it before I explain the image. And I'll try to take this as nicely, as easy as possible, okay? So we have real-time collaboration. So this is where multiple members can design in the same file at the same time. All right. We can design at the same time on the same file. Like, I'm seeing you move as you are seeing me move. I can say hi and continue doing my work, and you can say hi and continue doing your work. That's real-time collaboration. It happens on Figma. All to make that work is two of you logging at the same time and be working on the same file at the same time. Then the good thing about Figma is all changes happen at the same time and instantly. So there's absolutely no need to refresh. Just keep working, it's updating. And whatever, if you do like Control Z, it's only Control Z is your own work. It doesn't affect the other person's work. So that's it. And then if you make a mistake, there's version control, which we'll still talk about later on. Then comments and feedback. So on Figma, you can leave comments or feedback. So you can leave a comment on a design. Just click on the comment icon or press C, write whatever comment. This design is fine. Change the name, change the color, and that person will come and see it. You can even use art, so that the way you use art on WhatsApp, you can use art on Instagram. especially if you're in the same team. So you can just put at Philips or Shekemi or at Shekemi, come and see this design or change it to yellow. Maybe this developer saying blue did not work or whatever, I'll change it to yellow. So I'll see it, I'll get a notification in my email, I'll come and I'll change it. Then spotlight mode is where, I don't know if on the right image you can see the letter S. If someone clicks on the letter S, they can see, like now, if two people are on this file, you see S and A. So if A clicks on S, which is me, wherever I move my mouse, he'll be looking at it move. Like it'll be as if he's stalking me. Wherever I go up, he'll go up. Wherever I come down, he'll go up. So you just have to click on the teammate avatar and follow their course. So that's what is called spotlight. The feature in Figma, so if someone is trying to describe maybe on Google Meet or in the in-app call, the person can literally, like I can show someone something and they'll just be following my mouse and I'll be showing them and talking to them, explaining whatever they're looking at. And it's great for walkthroughs, for reviews, and focus guidance. Then we now have real-time voice chats, which is Figma audio, and I've mentioned before. You can do a live, there's no video, just audio. So you can do a live audio call. Everybody can join the call right there in Figma. And then it's great for quick discussions and design reviews. So we now have version history. So version history is literally, I mistakenly deleted the entire file. Breathe, fear not, go to your file, version history, go back to like 10 minutes ago, all the files will come back, or reinstall or reinsert all the files. So that's how version history, a very beautiful tool in Figma. So if you're working on internet left or something, you can just bring back a previous version or anything really. It just really helps to track progress, see what changes people made, and then also just see the growth of your file and things like that. So you can restore, duplicate earlier versions if needed. And don't worry, we'll still have practical. Trust me, we'll still have practical. And I'll try my best to treat all this part so that I won't be scared. But if there's still time, I could share my screen and we could see one or two things. All right, so yeah, it's used to see who made what changes when and when the changes were made, because there's literally a timestamp. Then we now have shared libraries and components. So we've talked about this. There's reusable design elements and shared files. This could be buttons, this could be icons, this could be things I've used before that I want to use again, or a design system I can be importing things from. So, and then it helps you to keep your designs consistent across teams and files, which we'll talk about more in UI design. There's one of the I don't know if the principle now, there's one of the things called consistency, where you don't want to imagine WhatsApp, this place is blue, the next one is yellow, the next one is green. You're like, what is going on? But the way it's consistently green on all the pages, there's that, okay, I'm still on WhatsApp, I've not entered Telegram, that type of thing. So it's just like consistent branding and stuff like that. All right, so there's this part I would treat briefly, and then we'll have a quiz, and then we'll run through questions, and we'll call it a night. So before I move on to this phase, do we understand? Are we together? Just give me a thumbs up and then I'll move on. Okay, so the audio call is happening. I saw a question from Jegede David. Audio call is happening on the, just like WhatsApp call. It doesn't necessarily leave WhatsApp. It's happening right there on Figma. So the call is happening, and then you can move your mouse. They can spotlight you and see you move your mouse. You don't need to share your screen. Your screen, because Figma is already collaborating, you're already seeing whatever another person is doing by default. So you just go about whatever you want to say, and they can hear you. That's how it works. All right. So I think we're all together. Oni and Prince said no. Can you mention where you're confused? I can see a lot of thumbs up. That's good for me. Okay. All right, so let's move into design systems. So what is a design system? Another complex word to talk about um a file or a folder of designs. Is that's why I said it's a complex word. It's simple, but it's a complex word to just say this is just where all the design guide is, like your brand guide is defined basically. I don't know if you can see the picture. You can just see the typography, you can see the colors, you can see the buttons and different states of the buttons and things like that. So what a design system does is just telling is another calling another button like who sent you. That's why we have the design system. So it's aligned, and then whoever looks at it will not even know two or three different designers worked on it. They'll just think is one designer worked on it. Can you hear me, please? Okay. So that's what a design system does. And then also for a developer, when they are creating their own branding element, when they're defining their classes and colors, it's where they can see, okay, this was the font that was used, this was the color that was used, and things like that. So that's literally what a design system is, just like a brand guide for whoever, designer or developer. Okay, so let me recap. Can you guys hear me now? Okay, so a design system a design system is a complex word for a brand guide when it comes to UI UX design. Okay, what is a brand guide? It shows what colors you should use, what fonts you should use, what type of pictures you should use, how should cards look, how should buttons look, how should anything look, how should you arrange your fonts, how should your shadow look, so that you won't come on the project and now bring a different design entirely, so that you follow the branding that exists. Okay, so that when 10 years from now, if someone jumps on the project, 50 designers could have worked on it, but because they follow the brand guides, as if only one person worked on it. That's the purpose. And if a developer wants to pick it up too, he's not confused. He can see, okay, the classes you are supposed to define is this font, this color, this shape. Don't do Oversabi and do another shape, because you can literally see what is for this product or what is for this brand. It can be a complex design system. It can be a simple design system. A simple design system is probably just colors and fonts. A complex one can be down to shadow, down to color of shadow, down to shadow on button, and so much more. So it's just like a brand guide, or it's just like a folder of UI components, which are your buttons, your inputs, your cards, your style guides, your colors, your fonts, your design tokens to show, okay, this is the color gone that we are using, how to space your work, and then rules on how to use each element. So it's just like a literal book telling you this is how you design, or these are the colors, or this is the format you should go on this design on or with. And then because it was done on Figma, they are definitely reusable components or consist of components, which we've talked about. So you can just carry a button and keep using. So now if they wake up and say, oh, we want to rebrand, we were using green, we're changing to blue. You don't have to start going to your design one by one and start changing them to blue. You just go to your design system, change, update the new colors, change all the green to blue, and automatically your main design updates and all the green changes to blue. So that's another benefit of having a design system. So like I said, just a complex word of a page, probably a page in your Figma file, or an entirely different document called into your Figma file that explains the branding of your work. And then another thing is, instead of maybe depending, yeah, with the design system, you can now create styles, which we'll still talk about later, where you can define your colors and define everything and makes life super easy for you. So I hope that's explained. So a design system English. Compromises, abi comprises, comprises of components. A lot of components are inside the design system, and components are reusable elements. What is an element? A button. What is an element? A shape. What is an element? A, I don't know, a card. My card now could be a post, how a post looks like, or whatever, or how a comment section looks like. So all of that is part of the branding. So because it's part of branding, it's inside the design system, and I can easily pick it out and put it directly in the design. I hope that answers your questions. Buttons are things you click on. The send icon, or that send, yeah, things you click on that does something. So to send, you click on something. That thing you clicked on is a button. To call, you saw an icon, you clicked on it, it called. That call that you clicked on that called is a button. So that's what buttons are basically. We'll still treat all of this more and in depth in UI, which I think should be our next class. So we'll talk more about UI in our next class. All right. So why does the design system matter? It helps future designers and developers by providing a clear, reusable set of components and rules. I'm seeing a lot of questions. What are the difference between component and design system? A design system comprises of components, and components build up the design system or contribute to the design system. So, and in this, when we have all of this, it's easier to build consistent interfaces. So it's easier to build consistent screens without starting from scratch. You can say anytime I want a navigation, but anytime I want a menu, I'll start designing it again. I don't have to. I'll just go copy, paste, continue. So these are just things that literally make design faster and easier. Okay. Then it saves time, it ensures consistency, and it makes teamwork easier. So this is where multiple designers can be working on the same project and it looks exactly the same because we're following the design system. And then everyone has a clear set of design rules to follow. So it's consistent, it looks good. Great. All right. Thank you. Yeah, no. So are we all good before we go into the last part, which is the dev mode? Just give me a thumbs up if we're good. All right. So can you all hear me? Jegede, I'm not clear on your question. You need to ask it again, clearer. All right, so let's go on. Okay, thank God everybody understands now. All right, so let's go into dev mode. This is another complicated word for something so easy. Okay. What is dev mode? It is for developers, dev developers. The first three letters, dev mode, developers. Okay. So what's dev mode? This is the developer's terrain. This is when they come on Figma and they're like, you know what? We have landed. Say no more. Whatever you designed, you see it on your website, you see it in Google Store, you see it in Apple Store. We got you. That's what dev mode is. No, you don't code in dev mode, but you get elements you need to code what would look like whatever you have designed and to implement it basically. So this is a view for developers. Okay, you can literally just switch to dev mode. In the bottom, you can say, okay, this is the light mode. On the left, you have your layers, your pages, whatever. On the right, you have your properties. So now for dev mode, on the right, their own properties is code. You don't even need to understand it because that's not your business. This is for them. So they get to see the code of that style. They get to see the padding of that shape. They get to see more information, the hex code for that color, for that background, and they can literally just copy it and paste. And I think there's this feature where you can bring it into Visual Studio Code. Now I'm talking for developers, where you can bring Figma as a plugin into Visual Studio Code, and then you can use it to design like code to life whatever design was done, and it just makes it so much easier for them. So here they can easily inspect design files. This might sound a bit complicated, but the way you can inspect on a website, you don't need to know that, but it's just a coding term and stuff and what people do. You get to know the measurements, the colors, the typography, so they can effectively code it, because whatever is not coded, it's difficult to exist, because what you just have is a prototype. It's just a design. It's not the real thing. Okay. You still have to link it behind the scenes and so much more. So this is what they have to do on the front end and designing phase. So it helps developers to understand the designs in detail without needing to ask the designer, what's the shape, what's the color. They can just come here and see in their own time. Like Figma did it so well that I can even see the width, can see the height. You don't have to start trying to understand Figma to pick so and so. It's clearly there. And then a designer, when I'm done with a design and I'm like, okay, this can go out, I can just mark for dev, right click, mark for dev. And by marking for dev, they get the what's the word, the notification, or they just see that okay, this is a design that is ready to be developed, and then they just go into dev mode and see. Dev mode used to be free, but now it's not free anymore. So this is another advantage of having the paid Figma. You have developer mode. So when you just click on this button, I don't know if you can see this code icon on the bottom right, or even up to. So when you flip left, you're in the design mode. When you flip right, you're in the developer mode. So then you get to see all the elements to support developers working on your project. And yeah, the developer mode, marking for developer, or marking for dev rather, makes it clear that okay, this is ready to go out. We've done all the review and feedback, bring it to life, so that they don't start asking that, why are you done with this page? Are you not done with this page? Because it'd be sad if they think I'm done with the page, they design only for me them to come back and say I've changed the color, changed the shape, and they're like, what happened? But if I change it, I have to inform them because I've already told them it's good to go. So that's what that does basically. So it makes it clear which parts are ready to be built, improves communication between the design and development teams, reducing error, and definitely a smoother handoff process. We still talk about collaboration and stuff. So that is that. So we've come to our quiz. So we spent a lot of time, and yeah, we've come to our quiz. So let me just run through one or two questions before I start our quiz. While we're waiting, this is the time where you scan the code or you note the ID number, because we'll be starting our quiz very soon. All right. Okay. So the only thing about dev mode you need to know is just mark whatever you have designed as ready for dev when it is ready for dev. The developers can take it up from wherever you stopped, and they know how to use dev mode and input it into their code and find whatever they're looking for to bring your designs to life. All right, so I hope we're all scanning this code because we'll be having a quiz shortly. I think by 8:35 we'll start our quiz. So let's all scan and start. If you have any questions, this is the right time to ask before we start. I hope we're all scanning and joining. Yeah, also to know dev mode is not free. It's not in the free Figma, it's in the paid Figma. That doesn't mean developers can't still get what they need. In the view version, so Figma, when you share a file, you can share as a viewer or share it as a editor. That means person can edit the file or the person can still view the file. So where the person can still view the file, they can still get information about the design without the dev mode. But dev mode is like an in-depth like understanding of the design. So that's probably why it's paid for and all. And then you can also bring it into your Visual Studio Code. All right, so join. I've not started the Slido yet, but we'll be starting shortly. So start joining, please. Don't worry, the Slido is easier than you think. Way easier than you think. Let's all join. Let's all join. If you can't scan it, just go to slido.com and type in the code, or you can just go to bit.ly 4D 3 capital B 5 capital G5. Don't worry, this one is a bit longer. I've never started the quiz, so I'm just waiting for more people. I'll start. It's a live quiz, so everybody is doing it at the same time. So once I start, it's timed, so you have to be active, but it's blank for now. Don't worry, the time is up. The time is a lot. Okay. Try joining now. Try joining now. We'll start shortly. I said 8:35. It's already 8:37. Webpage. Try again. Try again. 1 hour. Please, it cannot be 1 hour. Oh. We'll soon start. We'll soon start. Just a bit for more people to join. I think some are experiencing network issues. Our questions are like super easy, so fear not. Okay, I think we spent a lot of time. So I'm going to be activating the first question now. Yes, you can scan, please. Scan. Or if you can't scan, copy the ID number or click on or use the bit.ly link. A link will be sent to the chat box, so people that can't join can just click on the link. So I'll stop the question shortly. We might not use all the time. Alright, so let's move on to the next one. Or let's just use this one as testing. So whoever has not yet done, let them just join. The other questions might not be this long. Alright, so we've seen the answer, making digital products look good and easy to use. That's what UI UX design focuses on. So for the 1% that chose coding websites and read, that is not correct. So the next question is up. This one is a bit tricky. Yeah, this one is a bit tricky. Alright, so next, I think 150 people is okay. Okay, so this one was a bit tricky, but the answer is components and rules for consistent design. So let's move on to the next question. Yeah. So I reach like 150 people. We can close it to the next one. Okay, so the answer is to help developers inspect design details and code snippets. That's what dev mode is for. Next question. You guys are slow. If you choose the answers faster, we can close faster. And you're right. I think we saw the answer for the last one. Real-time comment and spotlight mode. That's a feature that supports collaboration in Figma. Real-time comment and spotlight mode. You can comment in real time and it can follow you through spotlight. Okay, so can we have our winners just show up on the chat? So brainstorming. Let's have our winners. Let's have our winners. Woo! The first person here is, let's see. Why are 5 over 5 people? Congratulations, Ibrahim. Congratulations, Koka. Ogunwo David. Ibukunoluwa Fadipe. Susan Ojaleye. Thank you. You guys are like the top 5. Congratulations, every one of you. So yeah, I hope you guys understood the answers. You were able to know which one you got right. So we've come to the end of the class. So if you have, we have about 10 minutes more. If you have any questions, and then also I'd like to hear what did you guys learn? Do you still need any form of verification? Just talk to me. Let's have a chat before this class comes to an end. Don't worry, there's no assignment today. So let's talk to me. What have you guys learned? What have you guys learned? What have you guys learned? So you're still talking about your scores. Okay. The practical part will have to be in the next class. It's already late. Just need one or two people to talk about what they've learned. Okay, Yakubu, you learned different features on Figma that you never knew before. Awesome, amazing. So yes, in that, by our next class, I'm sure each and every one of us would have joined Figma or create your Figma account. It's very easy. When you get this slide, you can always go back. Just go to figma.com and sign up basically. Okay. Alabode, learn the collaborative strength with understanding. Makes all the team build a product that can be usable and effective. Yeah, that is true. Thank you. Learned a design system with a set of reusable components and rules for consistent design. That's amazing, Simon. Okay. Yes, Figma. We have the free version of Figma and it's good for real-time collaboration. You're welcome, Adejoke. Yes, we have real-time voice chat. It's very amazing. It's easy to pass over, but it's like a really great feature in Figma. Yes, Peter, I learned what design systems are used for. If any of you have questions, you can drop them to. You understand the meaning of dev mode. That's great. You learned that design collaboration involves developers, designers, etc. that come together to work on a project. That is correct. Bethel. Design system as a collection of reusable content and guidelines to help your design. Very correct, Elizabeth. New things and design, frames, layers, asset. Amazing, Olushe. Thank you, Elizabeth. Yes, the importance of design system. That is amazing. How to use plugins. That's amazing. 3 components of Figma. We have beautiful Florence. We have the design file. We have the FigJam, and we have the slide deck. Yes, a team can work on it, and to be like one person worked on it. That's the best part about design system. Yes, yes. Thank you. Concepts. Okay, sorry. Blast multimedia concepts. All right. Thank you all so much. So, in the absence of questions, I think this is where I say have a blessed night. Okay, Roslyn, let our designers connect with their designs. Yeah, connect their designs with developers. Yeah, that's true. Beautiful, Taiwo. Learned a lot. If you still have questions after class, feel free to message me on LinkedIn or send an email, and I'll try my best to reply each and every one of you. So thank you all for your patience, for your responses, for engaging in this class, for attending this class, for the time spent. I'm wishing each and every one of you an awesome week ahead, and then we'll meet again very soon, and I will continue from where we stopped. And I hope would continue to enjoy our learning process. And I wish each and every one of you the very best. Thank you all and have a blessed night.